Hey crew, it's Pitt, and I am back with a little something different. Today we're going to be doing something that I normally don't get involved in. We're going to be talking about some conspiracy theories from the other side of it, right? I am a big conspiracy guy. If you don't know that, you should check out some of my other stuff. Probably on the alternative platforms because the YouTube's doesn't like the conspiracies too much. But we are going to be talking today about what happened yesterday. I'm not going to try to mention the specifics too much, but we're going to talk about a couple of directions that people are taking this thing. I love a good conspiracy theory. I do. I'm interested in most of them. I don't believe hardly any of them, but there are conspiracies that happen, and I do not, by any means, discount the possibility that there was official involvement in the situation. That's probably enough to get me monetized, but that is a conspiracy, and I am just voicing the possibility. I don't believe that that is what happened. I believe that this was an actor that was doing what he wanted to do in his own free will. I could be wrong. I could be some kind of beam from space that was affecting his mind. It could have been the psychotropics that they have all of these people on, or it could have been one guy who made a really bad decision. So let's talk about the specifics now. If you don't know that I am a Trump supporter, that I am fully on board the Trump train, you should check out some of these videos up here where I talk about his actual plan and where we dismiss Project 2025 for the fodder that it was. I'm feeding into the positivity in this country, and so we're going to look at this a little bit realistically. Now, if you have been on this channel for any length of time, you know that one of my favorite places to go is Google Earth. There are other places to do the same thing, but this one works fairly well. And so we're going to talk about what happened and where it happened. This is the Butler Farm Show Airport in Evans County, Butler, Pennsylvania. This is where it happened. This particular area right here, can y'all see? Okay, there are three buildings going down at a slight angle. Y'all really cannot see that. Do I have a better? That's not going to do it. Let me see if I have. No, I do not. Okay, sorry. Y'all can't see my. Anyway, if you can see the lake down here at the bottom, the three buildings that go up at a slight angle, right out in front of that is where the whole thing was staged. There was a tactical operator sitting on top of this top whitemost building right here. As a matter of fact, I can do this. Let me just drag this over. This building right here had somebody on top of it with tactical operations. This is where the stage was set up. This is where the crowd was. See this venue? It is rather wide open. This is where our person was at. We're not going to call any names because we don't want to give any credit, and I still believe it was a single individual bad actor until proven otherwise. But it is entirely possible for that man to have infiltrated this area. Why? What is the operating procedure? Sweep the area, then secure the venue. This is a fence line. This is a completely separate private enterprise that was doing other things separate from the venue. So they probably swept this area, made sure it was good and clear. And then they secured this perimeter around here so that the person that was right here would be safe. It is possible for somebody to go in here. They are not very well staffed in the Secret Service for a non-current presidential detail. That is probably on purpose, but we're going to leave that alone. Could the venue have been secured better? Absolutely. That is hindsight. Hindsight is always 2020. But it was reasonable to expect that if they had swept through this private business and there was no threats there, then there probably wouldn't have been. It also explains why there would have been a lag in response time if somebody had actually seen the gunman, which I believe is entirely possible, and pointed him out, right? So it explains why to get over to this spot, like it took a little bit of time. Now let's address the other side of the situation, right? It is entirely possible that this actor could have snuck in from over here, from over here, from over here. They cannot possibly secure a venue this wide open. He could have been on a rooftop over here. He could have been on a rooftop over here. You cannot possibly secure the entirety of the area. That's why you sweep it, then secure it. Okay, now let's talk about the other part of this. Everybody keeps talking about, well, he missed. I personally am very thankful for that. I believe fully that it was not an intentional thing, although there are some people who believe that it is. He was hit twice from what I can determine, once in the ear and then once in the chest, where he had just recently started wearing a vest, and it probably saved him from at least some damage through a lung. The people who were saying that there's no way that this person missed just have not ever borne a gun in earnest. It is one thing to say that you're going to go hunting and you're going to get some food, right? You're going to go and shoot an animal. That is one thing. It is another thing to say that you're going to shoot a person. I have been combat deployed. I was in the Navy. I was never shot at while I was in the Navy, but I have been shot at. I never held a gun on somebody in earnest when I was in the Navy, so when I tell you that it takes a certain level of commitment to even point the gun, you don't understand, if you've never been in the situation, the adrenaline that takes you, the way that your body starts shaking, the way that your whole vision tunnels in, the way that the sounds fade out, the way that you get focused in a way that you don't understand, and your body gets really tense, and it's hard to aim. They call it deer fever when you're doing it with a deer, or buck fever. But when it's a person, I don't know that they call it anything, but anybody that has ever fought on the front lines can tell you it happens. It happens even if you've had training, extensive training. You can make it through Marine Corps boot camp and still get to the front line and freeze and miss and not hit the target, because that boost, they don't train you for that. You cannot be trained for that. That is something that happens completely separate out of any training situation. It is entirely possible to be looking out 9/10 of a mile, right? I don't know what the yardage is on that, but that's pretty good. If he was on top of this roof right there, that's a fairly decent shot, 9/10 of a mile, or 0.09 miles, not 9/10. That's still an impressive shot, right? Sounded like a light caliber rifle, probably a 225, maybe a 5.56. It sounded a little bit lighter. I don't know. I haven't seen the reports on the weapon, but that's what it sounded like to me. That is a good distance bullet, but it's not very heavy, right? It has a nice flat trajectory for a really long way, but you can miss pretty easy with it, depending on your optics, right? I don't know what his scope was. I don't know what his setup was on his particular weapon, but it's easy to miss. People do not understand if they have not taken firearms seriously, if they don't understand the actual use of the tool. It's not the tool's fault. There are people out there calling for banning on the tool, and that is dumb. If it wasn't this tool, it would be a different tool. The problem we have is the division that continues to foster. It's one of the reasons why I'm doing this. I'm going to point out that it is entirely possible that it was an official involvement, but it is entirely possible that it was not. It is more likely even that it was not. And that's coming from somebody who takes his conspiracies very seriously. If you don't believe that, again, look, you see these links down here? Or they're not links, but they're names. If you see these names down here, they have some things that are pretty wild. I get into some pretty wild conspiracy theories. This one I don't know. Now, I have my own issues with what happened here. I did a video yesterday and I deleted it because I've had something to deal with this, and I'm not going to talk about it this time, but there is a video out there where I talked about this 2.5 years ago, before I got my voice back, before I started on this path. And so my messaging in that video overall isn't quite right. It isn't quite where it needed to be, but this part of this, like, we were at the 3.5 mark, and that's a big deal. That doesn't mean that he is the bad actor, because what was revealed to me was that he was the head wound and not necessarily the beast. So he is what makes it appear that the beast is dead and not the beast itself. Regardless, the point that I'm trying to make here is that, yes, it is entirely possible that there was some official involvement and some unofficial official involvement. We have been proven way too many times here recently that several of these three-letter agencies are way too involved in things that are going on. What happened in Wisconsin with Governor Whitmer, right? That whole situation was orchestrated by the federales. What happened in Ruby Ridge, the whole operation arranged by the federales.
what happened in the book depository, all arranged by the Federale, so I don't discount the possibility. But please, don't jump to the conclusion that it's the wildest thing possible and discredit yourself as we go forward.
The left gets wild. The right doesn't need to. We have the facts on our side. We have morality on our side. We have nonviolent action on our side. We have the electoral process working in our favor. And if you don't know that this event right here, all but guaranteed trumped the victory, right? That's the part that concerns me, is that they're going to pull out something that's actually going to upset this, because I think this is the best outcome. This is where I have been feeding my energy into. Not this in particular, not this event, but what is going to result from this event. I believe that Trump is going to help us make America great again. And having a lot of videos where I talk about what that means. So don't come at me with all that melanated bullshit. I don't play those games. Everybody who is here and fights for the Constitution is an American. And as far as I'm concerned, they get one of these. I know they don't, but they should. Right? If you are here and you are fighting for the Constitution in an earnest manner, then you deserve the respect. Don't go overboard. Listen to the conspiracies, don't necessarily buy into the conspiracies. That has been my motto for a lot of different conspiracies. There's a lot of them out there that are true. A lot of them out there that are wild. Blackbird helicopters do not mate. They do not create on their own. But there are things that they can create in the sky that's going to make you see blue beams. I'm just saying. Hopefully I brought a little bit of enlightenment and not too much confusion. Hopefully I brought a little bit of reconciliation to some of the wilder theories out there. It is entirely possible, people. I'm not saying it is likely. I'm just saying it is possible that this was a single actor doing a singularly bad thing. That was a hard word. I think it was a guy misguided. Almost all of the people on that side are. I'm trying to provide education instead of trying to berate them as some people do. I would prefer that we understood why their ideas are bad ideas and talk about that, as opposed to taking action such as this. But I am quite honestly surprised that action such as this has not happened prior, because there's a lot of fomenting of this on the other side. That is true. It happens on my side, but it's not nearly with the prevalence that you see. And when it does happen on my side, nobody's out there talking about, I can't believe you miss. If you have a problem with it, the miss, kindly remove yourself from ever seeing me again. I will continue to pray for you. I pray for Joe Biden every day. I don't like to do it at all. I'll continue to pray for you. But you don't need to see my content. You don't need to be here on this channel. If you do not want this country to succeed, then you don't need to see me. I am perfectly fine with you hitting that do not show me this button. To the crew, thanks for hanging out.
I appreciate every single minute that you are here with me, and I am praying for you every single day. Until next time, I love you. God loves you. You are perfect, whole, and complete just the way that you are. And this has been Pitt's Take. Peace.